Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Phoenix Talks TF2. This is a Scout loadout options video, other than my miscs here. This is a very stock Scout. First, we'll talk about the stock options for Scout. Stock scattergun for Scout. Ammo loaded 6, ammo carry 32. Does base damage 6 and crit for 180. This damage is accounted by 6 damage per pellet with 10 pellets. The pistol, base damage of 15 and a crit of 45, ammo loaded 12, ammo carry 36, and fires about 6 rounds a second. And the bat, base damage 35 and crits for 105. The Scout attacks at an interval of 0.5 seconds, meaning every half second he will get in one swing. All of the other classes, unless the weapon has a weapon swing modifier, will attack at a speed of 0.8 seconds or 4/5 of a second. 4/5 of a second, rather, excuse me. Now we'll cover the primary options for the Scout. The first to go over is the Unlock Force of Nature. The Force of Nature does 50% faster firing speed, knockback on the target and the shooter, 20% more bullets per shot, but 10% damage penalty and 66% less clip size, meaning that the Force of Nature only carries 2 loaded and carry a total of 32. Base damage 65, crit 194. Yep. Even though it has a damage penalty, the fact that it has 20% more bullets per shot, this can actually do more damage than the stock scattergun. This damage is accounted for 5.4 damage per pellet, but with 12 pellets. This weapon is different from the other scattergun in that it carries 2 shots. But if you fire only 1 shot and you reload the gun, you will lose the 1 shot. So instead of going to 30, or instead of going to 31 ammo, assuming you had full ammo, you would drop to 30. So anytime you reload, you will lose it in intervals of 2. The next weapon to... oh, actually, no. The knockback on this weapon. This weapon is used for force jumping, meaning the Force of Nature, therefore force jumping. This adds a 3rd jump to Scout by actively shooting with the weapon. So meaning that if you jump into the air and you shoot, you will be knocked backward. Or if you shoot up into the air, or if you jump and shoot upwards, you will actually be forced downward. If you jump and shoot downwards, you will be forced upwards. The Force of Nature doesn't really get much vertical height, but it can get you a lot of horizontal distance, meaning that if there's a jump that you can't make normally with your double jump, you can cover the distance with a force jump. This is also useful that if you get bounced into the air with a soldier, the Scout can only double jump away. And a good soldier will predict where you're going to double jump to, and he will just land a rocket on you when you land. But using the Force of Nature will give you a 2nd jump, per se, meaning that you can double jump and then force jump away from where the soldier predicted where you were going, and probably give you a chance to live again. The next weapon to cover is the shortstop. The shortstop isn't really a scattergun, it's a pepper gun according to the description. This weapon lists no stats because it's a different kind of weapon, so there's really no comparison to the stock scattergun. But the wiki lists 42% faster firing speed, deals 100% more damage per pellet, and it has a clip-based reload, meaning that if you have 2 left, you will only reload 2, you won't lose 4. But the penalty is that it has 60% fewer pellets per shot, has a 33% smaller clip size, meaning that it only loads 4 ammo and carries 36, and it draws from the same ammo pool as any of your pistols. This is why in the item set here, the special delivery, it wants you to equip the Mad Milk for the full set bonus because the Mad Milk isn't a pistol. Because using a pistol, you will draw from the same ammo reserve for your shortstop, meaning that you will go through your ammo twice as fast. The shortstop on base damage does 48, and on a crit does 144. This damage is accounted for 12 damage per 4 pellets. The scattergun doesn't have the same damage ramp up as the other weapons. Any of the scatterguns, the Force of Nature, the Soda Popper, the Stock, or the Babyface's Blaster, will ramp up to a max of 175% normal damage at 0 distance, meaning point blank. The scattergun will only cap out at the standard 150 as with every other class. So the difference is that this makes this weapon better at medium distance because it doesn't have the same damage ramp up as the other scatterguns. The next weapon is the Soda Popper. The Soda Popper has the same firing rate as the Force of Nature, but it reloads 25% faster. But it has a 66% less clip size, but it gets no random criticals. But however, it makes up for no random criticals with builds hype as you run. When hype meter is full, unleash mini crits. It gets mini crits because there is a Criticola duct taped to the gun, and so when you run around, the can shakes up, and then once it's full, just Criticola everywhere. But let's see, Wiki says that after about 13 seconds of running or jumping with the Soda Popper out, you will be granted mini crits for 8 seconds with all weapons, not with just the Soda Popper, but with all weapons, meaning that you can run around with your Soda Popper, and then switch to your pistol for mini crits if they're too far away to try to go for your mini crit point blank hits. But your hype will only build when it's out, meaning that if you're not going to be seeing any action, you should switch to your other weapons so that you don't prematurely hit hype. Ha ha ha. That was a euphemism. So you can run until it's just about full, switch out to another weapon, and then when it's go time, switch to your Soda Popper, and then you'll have your hype right away. Soda Popper on base damage does 60, and on a crit does 180. 6 damage per pellet for 10 pellets. This is the same as the Stock Scattergun. And the last primary for Scout is the Babyface's Blaster, which I aptly renamed. Gotta go fast. The Babyface's Blaster is 40% more accurate. On hit will build a boost, and you run up to double speed at maximum boost. But the downside is that it has a 30% damage penalty and 35% slower move speed on a rarer. Boost resets on jump, meaning that you cannot jump, or else the boost that you worked so hard to build will be reset to 0. So we're going to look at this real quick. 40% more accurate, meaning that if you fire the Stock Scattergun, it shoots pretty wide, but with the Babyface's Blaster, it's a little more narrow of a spread, so this helps the damage a little bit with the less damage penalty. The fact that it's more accurate, you'll be landing more pellets on the target. On base damage, it does 42 damage, and on a crit does 126. This is accounted for 4.2 damage per pellet with 10 pellets. Boost requires 99 damage in order to max out your speed. But without your boost, you'll be running at 86% of normal speed rather than 133 Stock Scout speed. This makes you slower than most classes in the game. This makes you slower than Demoman. This makes you slower than than engineer, sniper, all of the other classes that run at 100% speed or a little faster. This only makes you faster than heavy and only a tiny bit faster than soldier. But however, once you max out, you'll run at double speed, which will put you at 173% normal speed. However, in order to fully maximize double, you have to be hit with the disciplinary action, which will increase both the user and the hit ally speed, or to drink Criticola, which will give you the plus 1% extra you need in order to fully cap out at 174. And so this gun rewards you for not jumping at all, just using your speed to maneuver around rockets and dangerous opponents. But however, for players that are used to jumping, this is definitely something that's hard to get used to. I knew that I had a hard time getting used to this mechanic because I used to jump around a lot as Scout. I mean, I still do, but not when I'm using the Babyface's blaster. So that covers all of the stock, or all of the primary loadouts for Scout. Next, we will carry the secondary weapons. We already covered the pistol. The first is the unlock for Scout. It's the Bonk Atomic Punch. You only carry one drink, so you can't have drinks in your little satchel in the back here. Scout can't do that. That would be cheating. But this is not a weapon. When you use it, meaning when you pull it out and you click, you will be immune to all damage, but you cannot attack for 8 seconds. But however, you still can take knockback from rocket blasts, from jumping and taking bullet damage, and from air blasts. After 8 seconds, it takes the drink 24 seconds to recharge in order for you to have another one, or you can just run to the resupply room and then get another drink. However, this will also reset your bonking. Next is the Criticola. Criticola, while under the effects, 25% movement speed and damage done and damage taken will be mini crits. This is exactly what it says. When you drink it, you will do mini crits and you will take mini crits. Any damage you take will be mini crits. Critical hits override mini crits, so even if you drink this to try to, like oh hey, they have a crit screen, let me take mini crits, critical hits will override mini crits, meaning that it's just a bad idea in general to run in and try to take the mini crit damage, to try to absorb the crit damage in the first place as a Scout. Again, this effect will last 8 seconds, and it takes 24 seconds to recharge, or just run back to the spawn room. But this will reset your mini crit timer, as in it will remove the effect from you. The next item is the Mad Milk. The Mad Milk doesn't have any stats other than players heal 60%. Excuse me. Of the damage done to an enemy covered with milk, meaning that you will throw this, and Scout will say a little phrase like catch this, and then he throws it, and then anyone who gets caught when the bottle breaks will be covered in milk, and then they'll all make an exclamation of disgust. This nullifies cloak on enemy spies, meaning that if they are cloaked and you manage to hit them with the Mad Milk, they will drip milk, which will reveal their damage done, or which will reveal their location to everyone. It's also handy at putting out a fire, as you can see with my strange part allies extinguished. It has a 24-second recharge time, as with all of the other drink weapons, quote unquote. However, the only damage that players won't recover is afterburn damage. So enemies that are on fire with this effect on them, the pyro will not heal. The 60% of the 3 or 2 damage, depending on what flamethrower he has equipped. Next weapon is the... Oh no! I don't have a winger! I suppose that I should have these things before I make these videos. Anyway, the Winger does 15% more damage, but has a 60% less clip size, meaning that it only carries 5 in the clip, and it carries 36 total. This means that it does base damage of 6, and on a crit does 52.
I'll give it to you.
No, well, I don't need it for the video right now. Alright, so I'm sad that I didn't have that, because I tried to have one of every weapon for events like this. But moving on, next is the Pretty Boys Pocket Pistol. Pretty Boys Pocket Pistol, plus 15% max health on wearer. Wearer never takes fall damage, but 25% slower firing rate and 50% damage vulnerability on wearer, meaning that you'll be taking an extra half of fire damage. So Afterburn does about 3 seconds worth of damage, or 3 damage per second. You will be taking 5 damage per second on Afterburn.
Oh my god.
The extra health per wearer gives you a little bit more survivability in encounters, but it's still not enough to really help you survive a full-blown encounter with the Pyro point blank. This is best paired with the Babyface's Blaster, just because you don't take fall damage, and the fact that you can't jump without resetting your boost makes this useful in the first place. Because typically, as a scout, you would jump to negate falling damage. Because if you're about to fall a long distance and take fall damage, you would use your double jump just before you hit the ground to reset your jump height, and then it will use the height that you double jumped from to determine the amount of damage you take from falling. So that's one use of weapon synergy. Ammo loaded 12, ammo carry 36, base damage 15. On a crit does 45. However, it only fires 4.7 rounds per second, and it also has a unique firing sound, so that's pretty nifty. It sounds pretty cool, but I don't use the weapon enough in order to find anything useful about it. The last secondary for Scout is the Flying Guillotine. The Flying Guillotine, throw it at your enemies to make them bleed! Exclamation mark. Long distance hits cause many crits, 100% criticals versus stun players, and no random critical hits. Throw it, meaning that if you hit them, they will start taking bleed damage. Bleed damage, I believe, lasts about 6 seconds, the same amount of time as Afterburn for Pyro. Long distance hits cause many crits. The wiki does not give an exact definition of long distance, but through testing, this is the same distance as a moonshot from the alt fire of the Sandman. And speaking of the Sandman, this weapon loadout has great synergy with the Boston Basher because you get 100% criticals versus stun players, and look at this. The Sandman on Outfire launches a ball that stuns opponents. So therefore, you can get your stun with the Sandman, and then just throw your guillotine for a crit of 150, meaning that base damage 50 damage with the Flying Guillotine, and on crit 150. So that's all of the secondaries for Scout. So first secondary we'll cover. We won't cover the reskins of stock, just because they are just that. They are reskins. The first we will cover is the Holy Mackerel. The Holy Mackerel is a reskin of stock, only that it broadcasts every hit on an enemy player over the Death Notice region in your top right corner, and kills with this weapon will be labeled as Fish Kill. This is a great spy weapon, or a spy searching weapon, because if you hit a spy and you activate his Dead Ringer with it, it won't broadcast it as a fish kill. It will only broadcast it as a fish hit. Meaning that if you quote-unquote kill a spy and it only gives you a fish hit, you know that he isn't quite dead and that you should call him out and keep searching for him. The next is the Sandman. Sandman. Alt-Fire launches a ball that stuns opponents between 1 to 8 seconds depending on the distance, but it lowers your max health by 15, meaning that instead of 125, you will have 110. This can have some synergy with the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol, meaning that you will regain that 15 you lost with the Sandman, and then be right back at 125. The Sandman, the baseball will recharge over 15 seconds, or you can pick it up off the ground after you've launched it, or you can run to a resupply closet and get another ball. Base damage with the baseball bat is 35, and on a crit does 105, just because there are no damage modifiers, so it does the same exact damage as the stock bat. But on the base damage with the baseball, we'll do 15, and on a crit we'll do 45. So when the ball makes impact, that also does damage. I have also gotten quite a few ball kills. They're rather embarrassing, but to say the least. Next up is the Candy Cane. Candy Cane does same damage as the bat, so we won't cover that. On kill, a small health pack will be dropped, meaning that doesn't matter what weapon you have out. You can have your scattergun, you can have your cleaver out. As long as you get a kill with this equipped, your enemy will drop a small health pack. Small health packs recover a quarter of your max health. But the downside to this is that you take 25% more explosive damage, meaning that one rocket can kill you essentially. I mean, they already can, but from a longer distance, damage drop-off that would have left you with lower health will now kill you. So this makes fighting soldiers and demos a lot more dangerous. Next is the Boston Basher. The Boston Basher and its reskin, the 3-rune sword. Base damage 35, on a crit 105. On hit will cause bleed damage for 5 seconds. Okay, so I'm mistaken. Bleed damage isn't 6 seconds. That's after bleed damage. Or oh wait, no, it's listed. Okay, so bleed damage still is 6 seconds, but this will only cause bleed for 5 seconds. And on a miss, hit yourself, idiot. Meaning that if you swing and you miss, you can hit a player, you can hit a wall. As long as you make contact with something, you won't hit yourself. But on miss, you will cause self-damage and make yourself bleed for 5 seconds. This is a very useful weapon to have if you want to run in and then run out to make players run away for those health packs. But this relies on your skills at hitting in melee. I personally use this with the Boston Basher just because the bleed damage also adds to my boost, but also you have the speed to stay in their hitbox and to get those melee hits over and over and over again. But if you happen to miss, you can just use your speed to go steal all the health kits. Your teammates might not be happy with you though. However, this is also useful for stealing all of their health kits, meaning you're at full health, just take a swing, hurt yourself, steal the health kit in case someone wants to retreat back and get the health kit. The next weapon is the Sun on a Stick. Sun on a Stick does 100% critical hit versus burning players, but it has a 25% damage penalty, meaning that on a base damage only does 26, and on a crit does 79. This is paired very well with pyros, who will work together. Meaning that your pyro goes in, sets people on fire. You can run in with your Sun on a Stick and just constantly crit 79, 79, 79. You will get a lot of kills, I guarantee, assuming that your teammates can keep you alive while you get in there and land those crits on burning players. Next is the Fan of War. On hit, one target at a time is marked for death, causing all damage taken to be mini crits, but it does a 90% damage penalty, meaning that it only does base damage 4, and on a crit does 11 damage. You should not be trying to melee somebody with this at all. The only time you would use this is to run it in and get that mini crit damage on them. Marked for death, they will take mini crit damage, all damage taken to be mini crits for 15 seconds. But again, if you're sane, do not try to melee people with this weapon, just bonk, 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 bonk. You will only be doing 4 damage. Very bad. And another weapon that I don't recommend using for melee is the Atomizer. The Atomizer on triple jump, or will grant you a triple jump, but you will take 10 damage when you triple jump, meaning that if you have 10 health or less when you go for a triple jump, you'll kill yourself. So when you go for the triple jump, it's best to watch your health, just so that you don't have embarrassing self-deaths. The triple jump is as useful as the Force of Nature jump, meaning that it's a third jump. A third jump can help you navigate to areas that you normally cannot reach. However, it's not like a force jump, meaning that you can't propel yourself distances that you can with the Force of Nature. The downsides to this weapon are that it has a 30% 30% slower firing speed, and it does 20% less less damage versus players, meaning that you will do full 35 base damage on buildings, but on players you will do base damage 28, and on a crit do 84. The slower percent firing speed, Scout normally attacks at an interval of 0.5 seconds or every half second. This slows him down to about 0.65, meaning that he attacks a little bit slower than stock Scout, but he's getting very close to the other classes in terms of melee speed. So again, most players don't use this for melee, they use this for the triple jump. The final weapon for melee is the Wrap Assassin. The Wrap Assassin on alt fire launches a festive ornament that shatters, causing bleed. So, like the Sandman, you can launch a object at your target, but instead of causing stun, you will cause bleeding damage for, I believe, for 5-6 seconds. I'm not sure. The wiki doesn't give an exact measurement. The bauble, which is what they call the ornament, recharges over 15 seconds, can be picked up, which doesn't make sense because it shatters to cause bleeding, but you can pick it up off the ground. Awkward. Or you can visit the resupply cabinet for another ball, but this does 70% less damage, meaning that on base damage will do 15, and on a crit will do 45. Wait, apologies. That's the bauble hitting them. Base damage with the bat itself is 11 damage, and on a crit does 32. Alright, so that covers all of the weapons here today for the Scout loadout video of the day. I'm going to go ahead and reset all of my weapons that I have for this loadout. That's not what I have. If you like this video, please like, favorite, and subscribe. If you want to see another class loadout options video, leave what class you want to see below next. This has been Phoenix Virus on Phoenix Plays Games, and I will see you all next time.